All right. Welcome into Toilets to Titles on the Clock NFL Draft Show. This is episode number 7. I was not here last week, so I missed the discussion with Kyle Bellafuel talking about some NFL draft linebackers in the linebackers class, and I got to watch it. I was very happy and pleased to watch it. There was some strong content, but I'll tell you this, I am much more happy to be in this seat this evening talking to my dudes. I am here with the governor of college football himself, KT at Leverett_KT of the CFB Nation and Real Ones Productions. KT, what's cooking?
Hey, what's happening, Coach? Hopefully you enjoyed your well-deserved vacation. We went to the Senior Bowl, and a lot of people may view that as a vacation, but, we were down there working, so I was happy to see that you got to take a legitimate vacation. You and your family certainly deserve that. I'm feeling wonderful, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was I did a little bit of working down there at the Senior Bowl, and I did a lot of working on the pool table. And on that pool table, I was working
I
with the
knew you was
Moon
going to
Man.
listen to that, bro.
I was working with the Moon Man himself at FF_Moon Vibes, the other half of the Toilets to Titles podcast, weekly Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Moon, how we doing?
I love doing that show with you, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm doing great, Coach. Feeling wonderful. It's been a busy day, productive. A lot of great things been happening. Feels like that. This is just that time of the year, where it feels like that every day.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be on the show. OTC, Coach. I don't know, but you might have to make me a regular or something.
Man, I mean,
somehow, some way, I just keep ending up on the show.
I know a few guys. I know a few guys who could pull some strings, with this show, might be able to bring you on as a regular. So I think that's going to happen. But you said there's a lot going on. It's that time of year. I'm working on the show notes for next week, and usually, so the way my brain works is I'm a planner, and I have since year one of Toilets Titles. That year, I mapped out the entire off season. So I had an episode topic for every week because, as content creators, well, I can speak for myself, but I assume it's similar. When you're searching for items to discuss, and it might this time of year it's easy, but like when as the summer goes on and we get into the dog days, when you're searching for items to discuss, sometimes it takes away the fun. And I never wanted the joy to be pulled out of the podcast because I think the listener can see and hear that. So I figured, let me map out the off season so I always have topics, and then if something pops up, I can always remove everything. So I got, the whole off season mapped out, Mo. So you got a lot to look forward to. But next week, we're talking free agency, which is crazy. We're going from NFL draft. Next week, we're going to recap the combine a bit, talk about some risers, and then we're going to make some free agency predictions. So I'm looking forward to that, but I do not want to step ahead because right now, we need to give these fellas their week. It is the NFL Combine. We got a lot of upcoming rookies, and they are doing work. Today, defensive line and linebackers are absolutely going crazy. Not so much the linebackers growing crazy, but the defensive line is going bananas. And Toilets and Titles, we do have an announcement today. We're going a little bit crazy because we brought on Mr. Irrelevant at MR1RR. Elevant. He joined the Toilets Titles crew, the CFB Nation. He's going to be working with all of us, and we're going to be bringing him on to do some player profiles. Speaking of player profiles, go to toiletstitles.com. I finished my top 10 running backs. So each running back is linked to the write-up that I wrote up about each of them, so you can see my rankings. And then you can come on and tell me how wrong I am or how right I am. I told Moon before the show, I originally had Tank Bigsby ahead of Abanaconda and Tyjae Spears. And towards the end, I watched some more film and I moved them ahead of him. So I like their ability to create both of them a little bit more. But again, let me not get off topic. I'm getting a little long-winded. I had a long break. Let me catch back up. KT, I want to give you a chance real quick before we jump into our discussions. What's going on right now on the CFB Nation YouTube channel? What's like all the latest work over there? How can everybody go check that out and go subscribe?
All they have to do inside of your YouTube search bar at the CFB Nation. There's a lot going on. Nino is holding all Nebraska Cornhuskers fans down with the black shirts breakdown. I had to say that show first, so Nino was going to give me a hard time. Also, the Sooner Shakedown. Bro, yeah, you guys know Boomer from T2T. He's doing a great show with that. D-Now actually has a new show coming up. Moon, what's the name of D-Now's new show?
The Hawks Nest?
The Hawks Nest. I love that.
The Hawks Nest. Stop it.
Hawks Nest.
Dude, I'm going to tune in just because that name is legitimate.
Hawks Nest.
Then, of course, I guess I'll make the announcement here. I haven't made it anywhere else. So, CFB Nation, the show that Nino and I have been given to you all for the last several months, it actually will be going to 2 parts. So we're going to take the name away only because the platform is CFB Nation /T2T. It will now be called CFB Morning, a show that I will be giving to everyone twice a week, and CFB Prime, because Nino is made for prime time.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, yeah. So
I heard you guys were calling him Bob Costas. Is there any truth to that?
Bro, when I tell you on Monday's show that Nino got into a realm that not a lot of people are able to tap into,
It's facts.
I felt like John Paxson, man. Passing the ball to Jordan, let Jordan do his thing. I got out of the way.
Hell yeah.
Throwing
It's beautiful to see.
And everything.
It's beautiful. And I saw, so I remember when Nino linked up with you, KT, and it's been like incredible to watch the growth of CFB Nation and meeting up at the Senior Bowl, being able to link up with you guys, and like just the potential. Like we got guys that are credentialed at the combine right now.
Crazy.
So and then there might be some buzz about possibly maybe the NFL draft. So we'll see how that goes. I was talking to Nino about that last night. He told me he was talking to you, KT, and I found some cheap flights, and I've always wanted to try some Kansas City barbecue. So there's a few things. So man, it's a beautiful thing.
The old lady gave me the go ahead. I had to clear that hurdle first. Once I cleared that hurdle, we good.
Man, I was walking through an area of Universal Studios called Seuss Landing with my wife when we found out we had guys credentialed for the combine. And we're already on vacation, and she's not even me. She's trying to figure out how I can get to the combine, and like it wasn't possible. But like, how beautiful is that?
That's
beautiful.
Amazing.
I just want to say one thing.
Changed after the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, it did. Sure. I just want to say one thing, Coach.
Go ahead.
2 words for you. And to everybody that's in the chat. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Well, we got to say let's go, especially with Jared in the chat and D Now. So shout out. Like we can't go any further talking about the combine without talking about D Now and Jared Gray. So at D Now _T2T, at Jared Gray on the Twitter. And Jared, man, he represents Boomer Nation, Sooner Nation, like absolutely phenomenally. He just said, let's go, let's go, let's go. I love it. I love it. And these dudes, like what they're doing right now for CFB Nation, for Toilets to Titles, man, they are blazing a trail. You know, like they're telling, like Jared told me, man, straight up, like he doesn't see anybody down there does fantasy content, like, and that's one of the branches on our tree. So where he's blazing a trail and respect, and he's doing it in a professional way. But they both are. They're sending me pictures. They're taking videos. They're doing interviews. So enough about us. All right. Again, I want to give these gentlemen their week. Let's move on to the combine, and let's talk about some of the latest news. So I know you already talked about it. You already touched on it, right? You got your TikTok. You're talking about Jalen Carter, KT, and I believe I saw it on the YouTube channel as well. So why don't you kind of give us a little bit of a summary of all the happenings with Jalen Carter within like the last 36 hours?
Okay, so starting around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, he gave me a call. He said, yo, something weird is going on. He said, Jalen Carter is supposed to be speaking now. There is a delay at the combine. And I don't know if it was a few moments before that or a few moments after that. We seen On3 released an article that Boomer shared, and Boomer confirmed that the Athens Police Department in Georgia issued a warrant for his arrest, pretty much for the incident, the car crash that happened. What was that, a little over a month ago, if I'm not mistaken? And yeah, so that's all that we heard yesterday. Coach, you want to update them on what happened today?
Well, I believe so. Today, you know, there was a mugshot taken, I believe. You know, like there was police photographs taken, because I think Dino put that in the Gilded chat, and I'd hate to promote something based upon such a negative event, because somebody's life was lost ultimately, and I'm not saying it was because of Jalen Carter, but the end of this story is, you know, a mother and a father mourning over a child's loss. So that can't be thrown to the side. Like that's the biggest part of this story. But you know, Jalen Carter. So I saw those photos in the Gilded chat. And if you want to get in the Gilded chat, you know, reach out to me. I will get you the link. So he went back, and I guess he appeared and answered questions. So not only now is Jalen Carter back, he's answering his questions. I don't believe he's doing his workouts, but he's going to talk to teams, and he's going to be present. So the story is that he was present during the accident, possibly a passenger, in a vehicle. But also, there's some buzz and rumors that he misled the police, which, if that's the case, now, I was not perfect. I was nowhere near perfect. Like, if you're listening to this show and you know me growing up, I went through my bumps and bruises, and I learned. And every kid needs an opportunity to learn. And these are kids, and he is a kid. He's a young man, right? And I would be scared if I was him in this situation. So I'm not saying he was right for misleading the police, if he did mislead the police, but it'd probably be tough being in a situation like that and having the whole world in front of you to think clearly and to make the right decision. With that being said, he's got teammates who are down there now. And now his teammates are being asked questions about this. Like, you got Keely Ringo, and we got players that McIntosh that are going to be asked questions about this, and they have to navigate through this, and they have nothing to do with it. So this isn't just casting a shadow on Jalen Carter. This is casting a shadow on the Georgia Bulldogs players who are at the combine. So this is going to be interesting. And it's sad that, again, someone's life was lost, but also these young men have worked so hard to get to this point, and this pops up this week. This is their biggest job interview. So, Moon, do you have anything to say before we move on?
This is different, man. Because this is my team, Georgia. I mean, first Stetson Bennett gets arrested down there in Texas, and I'm like, what is going on? then
Thomas.
Then Rara. Now Jalen Carter has a warrant out for his arrest, and it seems that Jalen Carter's situation, it's way more serious, and it's connected to the fatal car crash that ended up with the loss of life of his teammate and the Georgia staff member. And all of this is coming after winning in a dominant way, and it seems like that is no longer talked about anymore. It feels like we're so long removed from the national championship win, hanging up 60 plus points over TCU, but really it just happened not that long ago.
Right.
So for this to be happening right at the combine, I think this is like major news. Every year I feel like we get something crazy or off the walls right around this time during combine that affects players, draft stock to go up or down, whatever. But this is, I'll just say that I'm praying for everybody involved in the situation.
Now, and we have to discuss this because we are an NFL draft show.
Yeah.
Does this all but cement that Will Anderson is first D lineman off the board?
I mean, he ran a 4.6 today.
Right. But I mean, it was debatable.
Unofficial.
It was debatable though. Like, there was a lot of people, like, I think it was 50-50 or maybe even 60-40 towards Carter for a while. So does this push? Because I'm also hearing, Jared's in the chat. Jared said he's back in less than 18 hours. So Jared said no. Jared thinks that this is, so again, if you're listening at home or however you're watching, we have live comments throughout the show, and we appreciate you for being in here. Jared's at the combine. Oh man. Jared's saying now that Murphy is the talk at one.
You talking about Miles?
Yes.
Wow. He's going to interview
live.
Well.
Wait, buzz. Bing, bing, bing. Miles.
We love the Clemson Tigers.
Jared dropping the bomb on us. What do y'all think of that?
Is the talk one. I think personally that there's something that we're not looking at here. There's a difference in giving a 21-year-old or 22-year-old who has an agent, who has a financial advisor, who has things in place, the rookie symposium to warn you of the dangers of being in the NFL and with money. A big difference in giving him millions than, even if it's, hundreds of thousands, and giving an 18-year-old without the structure, with the big man on campus mantra that happens at a lot of these schools. It's a big difference between the two. So first and foremost, I think Jalen Carter, if I bring up this, I think we're going to, it's kind of like the Deion Sanders comment. Some teams may be afraid of the Jalen Carter situations. I think other organizations are probably going to respect that he came back as fast as he did. I'm sure he's answering all the questions that he needs to answer. I think he still should be the first D lineman taken off the board, but it has to be the right scenario.
Right. You think the Bears move out?
They should definitely move out.
Right.
If I'm them, I'm going back,
Yeah,
taking a step back. Here you
do
go.
doofus. Yeah, I'm out.
Just like
Right.
that gift for the guy.
Right. I think so Monday we're going to release our second. This will be our fourth or fifth mock draft. And KT, you've been on a few. I know Moon, you're going to come on the next one. So KT, you're more than welcome to join. We're doing it on the Gilded Chat, and then we're going to post it on the website.
Oh,
So it's going
that's
to be
really
2
cool.
rounds, and we're going to start it Monday post combine. And I think this time around, so Jared has been pushing for trades, pushing for trades.
Oh, we
So
gotta
it's
make that. We gotta make
You
that.
yeah,
want to
it's
trade?
it's it's a lot to like because I
All
want it to
right.
look
Come with your
realistic.
thinking cap.
It
Come with
it,
your
it
thinking cap, Jared.
yeah. So
Joe.
like I gotta throw Jared a bone because all the work he's doing, man. So
For sure.
we have to make it realistic, but we're gonna do our first mock with trades. It's gonna be 2 rounds mock starting Monday, so you'll be able to see if we believe the Chicago Bears are gonna pull the trigger and make that trade. So Jared is also saying what else he's saying. Tomorrow he's going to talk to Stetson Bennett. He said he's going to ask him the tough questions. So make sure to check out the YouTube channels because the shorts are going to be posted up on there. We got Nino saying, "What's up, Nino, man? We love you. And we can't wait to see you on the next episode." We see Rich in here. Appreciate you, Rich, man. And shout out, my grandmother passed away. And
Oh
Rich
man.
and some of the guys from Toilets Titles linked up and they sent some flowers out to the family. So I want to let you know I appreciate that, man. That's very thoughtful. And Rich, you're a stand-up dude, man. And all right, with that, let's so Jalen Carter, we're gonna see how that plays out. I got another piece of news, and then you guys can bring up anything you want before we discuss some of these players. But I think a big piece of news, I was a big fan of JL Skinner. So I'm at the combine. He has some disadvantages when trying to cover, shifty receivers, but he's a thumper. He's long, he's rangy, he can play deep, he can play in the box, and he can run with tight ends. And I like him. He's a little thin. Like, I heard, who was I listening to today? It might have been Brugler, or I'm not sure off the top of my head, but he basically said this dude's got the same exact body type as AJ Green. Like he's the safety version of AJ Green. So he's long, he's thin, and it's a little bit worrisome. But now he tears his pec, training for the combine a week before the combine. So now he can't compete in the combine. So I'm starting to think I might be wrong because I'm not in the room with these GMs. I'm not in the room with these scouts. But if you're already worried about, like, his legs are rail thin, he's a little dude. If you're already worried about whether this guy can have the longevity to be on the field regularly at the next level, then he hurts himself going into the combine. He's not out there. I think this is a great opportunity for some more safeties. Like if Battle has a good day, I think Skinner, in my projections, I had Skinner ahead of Battle.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see a guy like Battle, even Jamie Robinson. I think there's guys now that could supplant JL Skinner just because he's hurt and he's not competing. I see you shaking your head, so go ahead, KT.
No, I would agree with you 100%. If you had concerns before the injury, the injury is going to only help out those concerns 100%. So, yeah, like you said, Jamie Robinson, it might beat the chain for him. Johnson from Texas A&M.
Yeah, Antonio Johnson.
Yeah, it may beat your chain for him. Sidney Brown, he's not gonna make a huge jump, but it may help his case as well.
And he's the
I've
opposite.
been hearing people say that he safety one.
No.
Sidney Brown.
Well, then what do you have, Brian? If you have Sidney Brown as safety one, then you just got Brian Branch as a DB, which probably most people do. I look at him as a chess piece. Yeah, he's a chess piece.
Like kind of like Buddha when he came out of college.
Yeah. I love it. So Sidney Brown, he man, at the Senior Bowl,
he was one of my favorites.
Dude of the week, just the look, everything about that dude, phenomenal. So, man, safety one. So he's gonna move himself up into the conversation.
The trust that the coaches had in him too was something that stood out for me personally.
Yeah. And if you were at the Senior Bowl, you got to see him take a rep, and then you got to see Skinner take a rep. So that was a great opportunity for him to surpass JL Skinner. So I want to start getting into some guys that we believe are going to be risers who are already at risers. But before I do you guys want to point out, are there any players that aren't working out that you heard of that you're kind of disappointed that they aren't? I know Zach Evans isn't, Dwayne McBride isn't. So I don't know if there was anybody you were looking forward to seeing that
Zach Evans isn't.
Yeah, not participating in drills.
Matt, shout out to Matt of Draft Nerds, did a great job. Him and both Bill did a great job covering the amount of people that aren't performing at the combine. They're just there to interview. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's kind of like the NBA and the slam dunk contest. I'm not
Right.
a fan of it.
Right.
Yeah, for the running backs. But I know, Coach, tonight we got a special episode. I'm gonna be giving y'all Nino's guys. I'm gonna be giving my best Nino impersonation.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I love it. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see the impersonation because he's watching, so it better be spot on. Or if anybody's gonna critique you, it's gonna be Nino. Nino's gonna tell you, hey, this is how it should have been done. This is how you need to do it next time, and that's why he's the COO, man. And what is he? He is he's the mayor. It's the mayor's due, man.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm gonna talk about some risers. Okay, so I think clearly I put these guys at the bottom of my list, but I'm going to talk about them first. And this is the D lineman, Kalijah Cansey, defensive tackle, Pittsburgh. And now I wrote this up earlier in the week before he competed. And I had, I don't know where everybody had Cansey, but I drafted him in our mock draft. I want to say like 34th, 35th. So this is a guy who's been on my radar. But I think after this week, coming in at 6'1" was huge for him. Like huge, no pun intended, because he's not necessarily a huge player, but just, because originally people thought he was going to be 6 foot. Coming in at 6 foot, yeah, his arms are short, but he's 6'1", 281 pounds, just physically comped, right? So, and he ran a 4, what did he run? A 4.7 and a 4.6, It's bananas. Dude ran a 4.64. His 10 yards was like under 1.6. So athletically and physically. So now this isn't film. This is just the RAS and who they use. So go check out at the Math Bomb on Twitter. So he does the RAS. So you get to see like the percentiles, like if it's their height is good compared to other defensive linemen or linebackers or running backs. You can see if it's in the red, if it's in the yellow, and then all the drills they go through. So I've been following this dude. It's great stuff. So go check out the Math Bomb. But if he compared his RAS to other players, and it linked up with Aaron Donald and Ed Oliver. So, and this isn't based upon film. This is just based upon size and speed. So those are two guys that are, it's good to be in their conversation. Now, I want to see, when is the bench press? They used to do it on the same day of the running.
They did.
So I don't know if because I want to see, supposedly dude can bench like 465. So Bruce Feldman had him number 9 on the freak list. Came in. So my marks for him was to come in above 6 foot. He did. Run below a 4.8. He ran a 4.64. All right. And then now I just want to see the bench press. I'm very excited. I think with this performance, with this, like this dude, he's a penetrator, like an absolute penetrator. He disrupts plays regularly just by getting into the backfield. So I think he moved himself into the first round conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere between 27 and 31. And there's 31 picks because of the Dolphins. Another defensive lineman who helped himself is Lucas Finesse. So I heard, again, I'm going to reference Brugler. He compared his player comp for Lucas Finesse was the Cocaine Bear. He said this dude, like, like, I think that's like, if you're, have you seen the preview, the trailer for that movie? Like, dude, they, not for nothing, the Cocaine Bear trailer aired during the Super Bowl. Like, I got my kids are 8 and 10. Like, come on, like, really, NFL? Like, I get it, beer, whatever, alcohol, but you're Coke. Now my kid's like, what's that, Daddy? Oh, it's a great conversation that started. But anyway, I'm going to laugh at it today because the Cocaine Bear is his player comp because he's aggressive, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. His teammates call him Hercules. So, like, that's his nickname, and he's at Iowa, right? So he's out there in the Hawks' nest where they just eat nails. And his teammates who eat nails are calling him Hercules. Comes in at 6'5", 272. He ran a 4.64. So this dude's, I'm sorry. So before I said it was Cansey, I had my notes split up. Cansey hit a 4.67. It was Vanessa who hit the 4.64. So I'm fact checking myself. I just have their notes very close to one another. And then also you add to the fact he was academic all Big Ten back-to-back seasons. So not only is he big, fast, he's very athletic. He's going to look very, dude, he was like an all-state skier in high school. Like, he was in, like, just, he's got it. He's got a bunch of different skills and abilities, and he's bright. So I think when he goes into those meetings, he's going to win some coaches over. So he's moving himself up. I'm going to talk about one more player, and then I'm going to pass it over to you guys before I touch on the rest of them. DeMarvion Overshown from Texas. I got some clips of him when I was out there in Mobile, and you could tell this dude, that spin move, it looked very athletic, but he looked a little raw. Why did he look a little bit raw? I did some more research. He was a 4-star defensive back coming out of high school. Played safety his first 2 years at Texas. So now he's a linebacker edge, and he's already got that spin move down. So that means he's a technician. So coaches are going to see the willingness and the progression. I think they're going to like that, dude. At a 4.59 40, like the athleticism is there, the agility's there, and then he had a 10.4 broad jump, I think, which was the 7th best for all linebackers. So those three, in my opinion, I don't think Overshown goes in the first round. Maybe end of second. I think I would put him in the third, because there's a lot of good edge players. It's a weak linebacker class, but I don't look at him as a strong interior linebacker. I look at him more of an outside guy. I think he's more of a third round selection, but I think those three really help themselves. So why don't you guys, react to what I put out there, and then you could touch on some players that you think are risers as well.
I agree 100% with the Van Ness. His stock is going to rise. I think coming in prior to the combine, I know D now is in the chat, so I would love for him to answer this. He had him going somewhere from 15 to 20. You still sticking with that, D now? I think he may be top 15, maybe even top 12 at this point.
Yeah, love it. What do you think of Cansey, Moon?
Man, that's my guy. I think he's gonna be a good starter in this league. You see his production in college, and it's there. Then you see his athleticism at the combine, and then that's there. And then you see
What if the Eagles put him next to Jordan Davis?
now. See, we're just talking about the rich getting richer because what
Right?
Joe was talking about earlier with Jalen Carter possibly falling to them.
Right.
Like my mind can't even fathom that right now.
Like I'm saying, end of the first, they have that pick. Like you got
But
Jordan Davis, who's a space eater. He's gonna protect your linebackers, so you can afford to have a small interior defensive lineman like that.
Listen, coach, he's a first team All AP, All American, and ACC Defensive Player of the Year as a junior.
Mm-hmm.
As a junior, coach.
Yeah.
A finalist for the Nagurski and the Outland trophies with the Panthers, 14 and a half tackles for a loss, 7.5 sacks, and 11 starts. This guy, he's only helping his stock. He made himself a lot of money today.
Through the roof. KT, who are some guys you think are going to rise?
I haven't seen the latest list of the people that's not participating, but I've been on this Devin A. Chain train for a long time, for a very long time. Have you guys heard whether or not he needs to perform?
Jared's in the chat, so I'm sure Jared or D now will fact check us. But as far as I know, and why wouldn't he? Like his skill set is like he's gotten. I feel like he could only lose if he doesn't. Like he's got nothing to lose if he's gonna blow by everybody. I completely agree with you as him as a riser. And Brent's, I see Brent's on your list, dude. Talk about him.
I like Brent's. I think probably coming into the Senior Bowl, Brent's was a UDFA. If we're being honest, after the Senior Bowl, and we saw Nagy say, "Hey, nobody rose more." Per scouts than Julius Brents. I was listening a little bit to his interview at the combine today. He said he's going to put on a show tomorrow. So, of course, I remember Bill said, of course, everybody's supposed to say that. Yeah, but I don't think he's that type of dude. Like, I really think he's going to put on a show. We've seen him have, 4 interceptions on the season. Held quarterbacks to a QBR 48.3 when they was throwing his way. So, the key thing for him is that 40 time now. That 40 time has to be legit. I almost want to say it has to be sub 4.4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
that's fast.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
Man, yeah. And then who was the player out of Florida a few years back? I'm having a brain fart. He was a corner. He ran like 4.7s. He had like a nickname for a first name. Someone in the chat. I'm sure.
You said Florida. How long ago?
Probably like 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah, and then like he was so it was before.
I know who you're talking about. You're talking about he's a shorter cornerback. He played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
Is that Hargraves?
No,
Hargraves.
no. It was before Hargraves.
Okay.
So Hargraves, so I think it was Treadwell. Treadwell came out the same year as this corner, and the corner we're discussing. And Treadwell said that year that he wasn't even the best corner in Florida. It was Hargraves. So he was kind of throwing dirt on this guy before he actually fell down and fell flat in his face. But anyway, I just derailed this conversation, and someone in the chat, I'm sure he's going to let me know. But I think Brent
Tease Tabor.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Shout out to Dino.
Yeah, thanks, Dino. He knows. Yep. So that's the guy. So I could see. So Brent's, I think, is the opposite. I think Brent's was quiet going in. Tease was heavy going in. Brent's was quiet going in. And if this wasn't such a strong cornerback class, if he ran sub 4.4, I think he'd be a first rounder. But now, because it's a strong cornerback class, somebody's going to. And you said he was at UDFA. I think there's a good chance he goes mid second. Yeah.
I think definitely day 2.
Yeah.
I'll be willing to bet.
If he runs sub 4.4, like, I think with that length, Dan Quinn, if we don't get a corner in the first round, if we being the Cowboys, because I
think
believe
he will fit you guys' scheme as well.
With that size, and then also with his willingness to come downhill. We need that opposite Trayvon Diggs, because we kind of got exposed in the secondary after Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis went down. Like I love how Brent comes downhill. He's willing to thump.
How would you like 2 out of phase corners? Because I don't think Brent is an in phase corner.
I mean,
interceptions will be up. Completions will be up too.
Right.
That's just the only thing.
I mean, Dan Quinn, the defense he like to run.
Yeah. I feel like he would. I think he'd make it work.
Yeah.
Especially when with the 3-headed monster we roll in the inside of the field. So with Curse, with Donovan Wilson, and with Malik Hooker, we got so much going on in the middle of the defense that if you have out of phase corners, and then if you have a slot guy, if we get Anthony Brown or Jordan Lewis back, I think we got enough going on inside that it could benefit them and it could help them fit in the scheme. Like the underneath is always cover.
That's a great take, Coach, because I believe Anthony Brown could be an in-phase corner from that nickel. So if you guys were able to get him back, that'd be pretty damn good.
Yeah, and Lewis has always been scrappy. Lewis, they kind of threw like they were, who was it that there was I always forget his name. He was the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks for a while. And we brought him in, and he hated short corners. We drafted Lewis before he got there, Chris Richard, and but just Lewis just earned reps. Like they thought he was going to be cut like his second year with the Cowboys, but he played so scrappy and so tough. But I'm hijacking this chat. So you discussed Devin A-Chain. You talked about Julius Brents. Who else you think is going to rise?
I didn't see all the linebackers who ran today. Did my boy Drew Sanders run today?
Let me see. Let me look him up. So I'm going to look up Drew Sanders, and I'll discuss his numbers as they pop up. In the meantime, I'm going to pass it over to you, Moon. You're going to do your best Nino impersonation, and then
you ready to get it? What my guys?
Yeah.
All right, bet. Lock in. This player that I'm about to talk about right now, he projects as an impact defender in the NFL when he plays next season. His leap in play over the course of the 2022 season helped put him in the conversation for top 3 cornerbacks coming out of the class of this year. He might be the longest cornerback you've ever seen. He's got incredible reach, influence inside the contact window at the line of scrimmage. He's very good with his hands. His play peaked in 2022 because he's an MVP, most valuable defensive player, second team All-American by many outlets, coming out of Pennsylvania powerhouse North Allegheny High School and committed to Penn State as the 4th best recruit in the state of Pennsylvania. In the class of 2019, I'm talking about Joey Porter. That's who is first on Nino's list. 6'2", 198, 27 tackles, 21 solo tackles, 11 pass breakups as a freshman. You heard that, Coach?
Yeah,
as a freshman.
As a freshman, yeah.
I love it. Say it with your chest.
Good press coverage DB. Physical. He annoys wide receivers. He's quick and in and out of his cuts. Has
Skill.
good length. Hip movement is crazy elite. His back pedal is smooth. And as Nino would say, he has NFL pedigree. And he
Yes.
believes 100% wholeheartedly that he's the best cornerback in this class. That's a wrap. You talk about his
Did you hear him today? Did you hear what Porter said today about where he thinks he'd fit in?
no.
His
That was
daddy might.
weird. I heard that.
His daddy might not want to hear it, but you know, the newest member of CFB Nation might like hearing that. And that's Matt, because Matt's a Ravens fan.
Yeah,
And Joey Porter said he thinks he'd fit in perfectly out there in Baltimore.
Listen, when you can be in a situation or your top reasons to believe in him if you're a Baltimore Ravens fans, listen, he can grow in his press technique and his footwork. And we saw that take strides in 2022. His height, weight, speed, athlete is all premier for that position playing cornerback. Excellent ball skills at the catch point. And you have prototypical length that allows you to play on the perimeter, or maybe if you want to put him in the slot. So versatility for you. Depending on what he does at the combine, his name is going to only be even more in the ranking. So, yeah.
What a year if you need a corner. Like, what a year. If you need a corner, like, this is the year you're going to get one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Listen, it's just a lot. Like, I'm just going to name off Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr., Devin Witherspoon, Cam Smith, Keely Ringo, Clark Phillips III, Emmanuel Forbes, DJ Turner,
I like Phillips,
Caillou Blue Kelly, Julius Brents, KT's guy, Garrett Williams, Travius Hodges Tomlinson. And I didn't even get to talking about Tyreek Stevenson, the guy that I interviewed at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I like Phillips, man. I like Phillips. I think he's going to be like, somebody's going to get a steal with him wherever they get him. I love it. All right, who's next? I think we got a Nebraska boy who Corton Husker. Who's next? Who is he?
Black Shirt Breakdown is a show by Nino specifically. And you can check it out live on CFB Nation and tap into the content. This is Nino's guy right here. 6'1", 193, 12 games, 71 receptions, 1,043 yards, 9 touchdowns, 14.7 yards per catch. Strong. He told Nino personally at the combine, I was there, I saw with my own eyes that he was running a 4.2 flat at the combine. Crazy. And Nino said he's going to probably run 4.38. So I know Nino likes the way he stays under the ball. He tracks the ball well with ball awareness that's top-notch, top tier. Quick off the line of scrimmage, knows how to have an array of moves to choose from with his releases. He creates early separation. He's great at setting up the DBs, a.k.a. a carnival set them up and knock them down, you know. Hey. Tell him, you know.
Set him up, knock him down.
That he's looking forward to for this for the combine, and it's going to be on the biggest risers for him.
I love it. And then KT, I know you got a wide receiver on your list of combine riser, and it's a young man out of Tennessee. So why don't you talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt. A lot of people felt a certain type of way about Jalen Hyatt. They felt like he was schemed open by Alex Golish. I know Hypo gets a lot of the credit, but it was Alex Golish who really got him open, schemed him open, being able to call plays from the line of scrimmage. I always go back to that Kentucky game. Nino hates it when him and Tillman inverted, where Tillman was on the outside and they switched. But yeah, I think he's going to blaze in a 40. I think he's going to probably surprise people if he does bench press. I think he's going to surprise people with how many reps he does on the bench as well. Everybody talks about how's he going to get off the line. You know, a lot of his plays were broken plays. He made the plays, man. I'm just tired of hearing about that. Like,
right.
He made the plays. He got plays and speed. Moon can attest. I've been on Jalen Hyatt for a while now. Like 2020 Moon.
Yep, he even did a whole series about Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah. I want to see this dude win.
I want to see him with Justin Herbert. Yeah, I'd love to see him with the Chargers. I think one of our mocks.
That's scary.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And again, you know, you got to keep either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. One of them's got to be there with him. And then, you know, take away, you know, demand the double coverage, right? Demand that safety kind of be creeping down. And then you already got Eckler causing those safeties to creep down. And then they creep down. And guess what? Jalen Hyatt's over the top. I got another guy who, well, actually, before I move on to my guy, I'm hearing buzz that Tillman, on the other hand, some people think he might be a faller. They think he's not going to perform too well at the combine. I heard some people thinking he might run like low 4.5s to like high 4.6s, which if that's the case, that might, like, his film, you got to go off his film, but I'm hearing buzz that he's not going to be performing too well at the combine. So we got to see that. And if it happens, we kind of expected that. You got to trust the tape. Ultimately, you got to trust the tape. I'm hearing also, this isn't on my list. Somebody told me, so Zach Charbonnet, during the week, I comped Zach Charbonnet. I see James Conner. I see a little bit of James Conner. I see a little bit of David Montgomery. I see a little bit of a mixture. Somebody came out and told me I'm way off. They're completely different running backs, but I'm sick and tired of people talking down on James Conner. James Conner ran for 1,700 yards at Pittsburgh. Had cancer, came back, ran for over 1,000 yards. Like, James Conner is in the NFL right now. He might not be Austin Eckler. He might not be Derrick Henry, but the dude is producing. So, that is not and then this guy's trying to tell me Zach Charbonnet is going to run high 4.38. It's like, no way. I think Charbonnet is going to be somewhere between 4.48 and 4.56. I think he'll be lucky to crack for above 4.5. You think I'm crazy, or you think he's got that long speed?
I think that window, I think it's close. I think he'll run 4.4s.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because it's weird, because if you look at his film, I think he plays faster than he looks.
That's fair.
So yeah, I think he'll run a 4.4.
Right, and I'm not. Nino says 4.45. So yeah. We'll see. Maybe, because I think Conner came in at 4, low 4.6, which is not fast at all. But
I agree, Nino.
The game speed is he is sneaky fast. All right, we'll see. But I think just his body of work, what he does, he's not elite quick, but he's so damn reliable. Like, if you throw him the football, he's going to catch it. He might not break off a 30-yard gain. So again, this isn't me talking bad about Charbonnet. I think it's James Conner ain't a bad comp, compared to what he did and what he's doing. Dude's an NFL starter. So, I think he is so reliable. Charbonnet's he's going to go somewhere. He's a star. And you're gonna be able to slot him in day one. He's a pro. He is, and that's another thing about Conner. Conner was a pro before he got to the NFL. I think Charbonnet is a pro. 3 down back, start to finish, gonna get the job done. So, all right, I am going to discuss a player. You talked about Jalen Hyatt. I think that Tyler Scott is going to rise. He was number 54 on Bruce Feldman's freak list. He expected to have a 40+ inch vertical leap, sub 4.35 40 time. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 4.2s. This guy, you talk about Hyatt tracking the ball well. You talk about Palmer tracking the ball well. Scott tracks the ball well. And then after he catches the ball, the dude ran for over 2,800 yards and 48 touchdowns in high school. In his final 2 seasons, the dude came to college as a running back, transitioned to wide receiver, doing very well at wide receiver, so still learning. He can still expand, but when he gets the ball in his hands, you see his ability to tote the rock. He is absolutely yeah. So man, I think that Tyler Scott is going to come into the combine, and then his agility, his lateral movement, he's going to be popping it up. So KT, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry. I just seen the most disrespectful comment I've ever seen in the history of comments, and it came from my guy Brandon Sooner.
Oh man, I thought you were looking at me for the Scott talk, but now I'm looking at the chat and I see it.
I love the Scott talk. He says, "A chain is Dre Archer." Wow.
Where did Dre Archer? How big? Dre Archer was 5'7", right? He was a little dude.
Like Nino would say, he was one of the Oompa Loompas.
And where did he go to school? Tulsa?
Kent State.
Okay. Man,
I remember him because he was so fast.
Yeah. Wait. We need a bathroom board bet, Nino. So KT, Moon knows about the bathroom board. So the bathroom board is everybody at CFP Nation, welcome. I'm gonna send you the link. So anytime during a show you disagree,
Mm-hmm.
we make the bet. We put it on the board.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's a doc. It's a running doc. And then at the end of the season, we'll have like over 100 little bets and we tally up a winner. So I think Nino and Jared should have a bathroom board bet where all Nino you got to say is A-Chain outproduces Dre Archer in Dre Archer's rookie season. Because I think, I don't know how else we'd measure the comparison, but, somehow he says screw the board. Only college for me. He's upset because he didn't do too well on the bathroom board this past season. So I apologize. All right. He didn't do too well. All right. They were all loving Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift, and I get it, but I stuck with the steady Eddies like Nick Chubb, and it ended up working out. But my last player who's going to rise is Brian Branch. Brian Branch, I think what is going to be the sales pitch for him is availability and versatility. I think he's going to perform very well, but I also do think when teams bring him into their interviews and they put up his film and he tells them what he can do for them, like what he did for Nick, what he did for Alabama, how reliable he was always on the field, how versatile he was. I mean, the dude, coverage, tackles, like form tackling, like Brian Branch is the type of dude where you could put his film on and it's an instructional clinic. Like my son's transitioning to football from soccer. I could put Brian Branch film on and instruct him how to play the game. So when that's happening and he's talking about it, I'm not even just talking about the underwear Olympics. That is the combine. I'm talking about in front of a whiteboard, X's and O's. Brian Branch is winning them over. So Moon, you got a few more Nino's risers. Where we at?
Shout out to the TCC guy. You might be like, Moon, why you keep looking away? Because if you look away on Saturday and you're watching the ECU game, you just might miss a Keaton. You just might miss Keaton. Keaton Mitchell from ECU come in and be blazing for a touchdown. My guy is coming into the NFL draft, and he just might be the highest ECU player drafted coming in. And one of the most exciting running backs in college football could end his season again as 2023's best ECU product. As a sophomore, Keaton Mitchell rushed for 1,132 yards on 6.5 yards per carry, as well as being a threat as a pass catcher outside of the backfield. 253 receiving yards, 10 total touchdowns. Jack, 10 total touchdowns. Yes, potent speed, acceleration that's unlike anything that I've seen in this class, elusiveness to avoid contact, break huge runs. If you think you're catching them in open field, you might as well just stop. Now, a better comp to G-Archer, I can see if it was this guy that I'm about to talk to you about. But my main concern is just pass protection. But for Keaton, this guy, he's a dog. He's a dog. When he gets the ball in his hands, good things just seem to magically happen. He was awarded first team honors in the best group of 5 conference in football for consecutive years for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. He declared for the NFL draft on January the 2nd, and he has a lot of qualities that NFL teams should be drooling and salivating over. Why? Because I think he could come in, carve out a role at the next level. Why? Because speed kills. He's going to run sub 4.3, and he's just going to be totally dusting defenders throughout the season. You got vision, ability to change direction on a dime, one of the toughest players to tackle in college football last season. We saw it all over his tape. Now, outside of his size, it's much not to like about Keaton Mitchell. He had 0 fumbles last season, chat, and only 2 during his 3-year career. He's a balanced and smart back. That's why Nino has him on the list. Great lateral movement, can start and stop on a dime, long speed catch run ability, and take the top off of the defense. But Nino's one knock that he had on him was terrible pass pro. The next guy, we'll talk about him.
Clayton. Wait, I gotta mention, we got guys in the chat who are saying Chris Johnson, best ECU back of all time.
Best ECU back then.
Yeah. So just we got Jared and D now in here fact checking us, but let him do his Nino. Let him do his Nino. Go ahead.
ECU player drafted 2023.
Okay, fair. Fair.
That's what I'll leave it as. The next guy that's on the board for Mr. Good Nino, Zach Pickens, 6'4", 291. George, where's George at?
Yeah,
He
George.
love
Yeah, that sounds
hands.
like him.
10, 10 and 3/8 inch hands, 606 snaps, 32 tackles, 19 solo tackles, 19 pressures, 13 quarterback carries, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss. This man is an anchor in the run game. Above average arm length. He has quick hands. He should be noticing the combine today. Why? Because he ran 4.89 combine 40-yard dash confirmed. He can cover multiple gaps. He needs more tools in his bag, but his good lateral movement down the line and being 300 pounds, running a 4.840 with a
It's crazy. It's
1.74
absurd.
10-yard split. He's another
That's
guy
a,
that Nino has on the board.
That's a freak. Like, think about the opposite. Like, we got Canty coming in at 6'1". Like, this dude's 3 inches taller. Like, he's not running as fast, but this dude's taking up a lot more space. A lot more space. I like it. I like it. KT, who's your last combine riser?
oh man, this chat really got me and Boomer gonna have a good debate or something, man. I don't the A-Chain disrespect has gone too far, man.
And Nino's telling him go take a nap.
I'm telling you, it has gone too far. So Darius Davis. So I felt weird about putting him up here. Reason being because we all seen that highlight with Julius Prince. Just you want to talk about like the young guy say a strap when you you cover somebody they can't do anything. That's what we seen with Darius Davis. But I think Darius Davis do have the potential to blaze in a 40-yard dash. So that's why I have him on this list. But like I said, it was hesitant because of that one play that stood out to me during the Reese Senior Bowl when he just got absolutely destroyed.
I mean, it happens. And then if you can run, you could catch, you could track the ball. That's on your offensive coordinator to put you in a position where you're not up close and personal with a long, lengthy defender who's what's his MO? Getting in your face, jamming you, and sticking with you. Especially a guy like that, especially a guy like Brent, who you're saying you're a little concerned. He might not run 4.4. He might not run 4.3. So if you're not the fastest guy, you got to be good at getting your hands on receivers. So if this dude runs fast, an offensive coordinator, they're going to see that and say, all right, we can put him in a position where we can put him off the line. We can put him in the slot. We can move him around. We can keep him away from that. So I like that. GMs, scouts, they fall in love with speed all the time. If you can run, you can move, you can go through that gauntlet. You can show that you can adjust your body. You can catch the ball from all different angles. I definitely like that as a riser. Wide receivers, it's easy to fall in love with at the Underwear Olympics because they're running. All they're doing, they got nobody covering them. So I like it, man. So I think we covered a lot. We got like 16, 17 risers in here. We touched on Jalen Carter. We touched on Skinner. We touched on Charbonnet. That was like a bonus. We weren't even planning all that. So I'm just excited to track the rest of the NFL Combine. This is one of my favorite times of the year. Not only like what's excellent about it this year is I'm not just tracking it. I'm not just watching it. I'm not just looking at other people's content, which I used to do. We got D now. We got Boomer tirelessly on site, posting pictures, videos, clips, all of that on the Gilded Chat. And then we got Nino, who's taking all this stuff, working his magic, posting it on YouTube, posting on the YouTube channels. Again, check out Titles, check out CFB Nation, posting it on Twitter. So I am getting all of my updates throughout the day from Toilets to Titles, which is like, it's absurd to think it's absolutely full circle. So I love it. I love being a part of this team. KT, Moon, it's been great working with you fellas. It's been great working with Real Ones Productions. Go check them out, the CFB Nation. They're daily. Matt, he's got the new show. I think it's Draft Nerds. What night weekly is Draft Nerds on?
Draft Nerds right now is Monday night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, so between the CFB Nation, between Toilets Titles, you're covered on Monday, you're covered Thursday. So you don't go longer than 3 or 4 days without draft discussion when you're following both networks. So check that out. Hopefully we can get Matt and Gilded and we can get him in that mock draft Monday night because I'd love to get his input for the Ravens. And then KT, I'm going to get you in there as well. If you want to support the show and you want to be able to support us, getting to events like the Combine, possibly the NFL Draft, the Senior Bowl, and then also we're going to be considering going to spring games in the future with Dennis and Boomer and all these college football shows. We got to get to some spring games. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to support that, go check out patreon.com/titles. It'll get you in the Gilded Chat, get you an opportunity to the Frankenstein. I see you laughing. John keeps talking underwear. You never heard of it? You never heard of it called the Underwear Olympics?
No, it's the funniest thing ever, bro.
Man, I'm the only one.
You're right, but I'm laughing at Nino, man.
Yeah.
Nino's a fool, man.
Yeah, dude, it's what it is, man. These guys, like, there's no equipment on. They're not hitting each other. They're wearing, like, dude, how tight are, like, when they're wearing their leggings out there, it's skin tight. These dudes are wearing underwear and running around out there, getting poked and prodded by GMs and scouts. So Nino, I am giving you permission on your shows.
We need to bring out the AO meter.
Yeah, on the CFB Nation Prime, you get to use that. All right, I'm telling you, you get to use that. It'll stick with you. So with that being said, that about wraps it up for On the Clock. Next week, we got Mark Schofield, and we're talking about the quarterbacks in this class, man. That dude knows his stuff. So make sure, again, subscribe to the networks. Get locked in. We have you covered start to finish. College football, NFL draft, NFL, Devy, Dynasty, Fantasy, whatever you're thinking, we got you. All right, we will see you throughout the offseason, and we will see you into the upcoming NFL 2023 season. Take care.